Welcome back to Movie Summary. Today we are diving into a film called Blame. The movie begins with a girl waking up. She brushes her hair and starts dressing up. Her name is Abigail. Her parents honk outside and they are all brought to the office of Miss Cohen. She thinks Abigail should be starting a school at the same time as her classmate. But Abigail isn't a huge fan of that. Miss Cohen adds that it will make the transition easier if she is ready. Her mom confirms she is ready. On the other side of town, another girl by the name of Melissa is woken up by her dad. Music is blasting and she is not excited to go to school. She then heads there and is happy to see her friends on the first day. At this moment Abigail enters. Melissa and her friends can't believe she is back. They have heard of her. Melissa goes and starts writing on Abigail's locker with her lipstick. She comes and sees written, "Psycho," a nickname she used to be called. Melissa and Sophie laugh while the friend feels bad for Abigail as it clearly affects her. Later that day, Abigail is standing in front of the class making a presentation. When she finishes, Melissa realizes she is limping. At lunch, Melissa makes fun of Abigail and the third friend Ellie is still not comfortable with that. She goes to the empty theater by herself and starts drawing. After school, Abigail goes back home, which is empty and quiet, compared to Melissa where we hear her dad arguing. She raises the volume of her music to not hear them. She goes through all her party photos. The next day arrives and Melissa leaves while giving the middle finger to her dad. We really show the parallel between these two girls. One is quiet and behaved, while the other one is loud and problematic. At school, a boy named Eric comes to Abigail and instead of bashing her like the others, he tells her how brave it is that she came back. He finds it cool, she is flattered and he asks for her number. His two friends come and we realize he was just joking, making fun of her. The poor Abigail goes to the restroom to have some peace, but even there she finds written on the wall, "Who let the psycho out?" She then goes back to class and is told by the new teacher Jeremy Woods that she is late. The class laughs at her. Later that day, Mr. Woods gets back home after his first day. He gets a beer and makes love to a woman named Jennifer. She still can't believe he is a teacher. He reminds her he did it more for the play of the school. She doesn't think it's good and really wants him to meet a businessman named Michael who has a great opening at his company. But Jeremy is happy at his teaching gig. The next day, Jeremy is trying to keep the class quiet and begins lessons. Abigail seems to be the only one sharing the same passion for literature and paying attention. He then starts assigning roles for the school play. When it comes to the role of the villain, which is a great role, Abigail wants to raise her hand but Melissa beats her to it. Both girls have their hands up and Jeremy chooses Abigail, which makes Melissa pissed. She gets more pissed when Eric decides to play the male lead and after class she tells Sophie to keep an eye on her. Both continue shaming Abigail who keeps to herself. The night before the rehearsal of the play, Melissa tells Eric to skip the class so he doesn't practice with Abigail. The next day, Jeremy is told Eric is sick while in reality he is making out with Melissa. But Jeremy decides to still rehearse the scene and calls Abigail. He will be reading Eric's part. They starts and both are having a moment, but that is unfortunately interrupted by the bell. He compliments her on her great acting. Both chat a little bit and Jeremy invites her to continue the conversation outside. Meanwhile, one of the friends inform Melissa that Jeremy rehearsed with Abigail. She finds it weird. During lunch, Ellie asks Sophie and Melissa why they hate Abigail so much. Melissa doesn't like that and wonders why is she taking her side. But Ellie, feeling the animosity, leaves their table. Both thinks she is weird. Later that night, Abigail is lighting up some candles in her room. She has drawings around, she feels at peace. The next day, during class Jeremy and Abigail can't stop smiling at each other. Melissa notices it. After class, she goes to him with chest a little out and Abigail realizes then wants to leave. But Jeremy calls her and tells Melissa to leave. She gets mad and watches them both bonding. He wants her help with organizing the play. So he brings her to the theater. Ellie is also there like always in her hidden spot, she hears them. Abigail asks Jeremy if he was an actor, but he responds that he just did many plays on school. She believes he would be very famous now if he was an actor. Days pass by and Jeremy is running exercises while thinking about her. while she on her side is also having him more and more on her mind. One day, Sophie wonders if Eric even hangs out with Abigail. And Melissa gets a great idea of what they could do. Meanwhile, Abigail is opening a red box with a necklace that she puts around her. That same night, both girls are planning that idea Melissa had. They ask Eric for a favor. The next day, Abigail arrives at school very confident. She has her necklace on. Eric even glances at her, which makes Melissa jealous. The class then starts another of their rehearsals for the play. Eric is talking to Abigail for the first time in a long time. Jeremy gives them the look. Eric apologizes for not showing that day for rehearsals. He asks her to practice after school while Melissa is looking at them laughing, because it's all part of her plan. After begging, she accepts his offer. Jeremy keeps looking at them. After class, he is with Abigail like always. She tells him Eric asks her to practice here after school. Jeremy finds it weird. Abigail then thanks Jeremy for letting her help him with the play. Both stare at each other without words. Abigail then adds that it's nice to have someone to talk to. The bell rings and she drops her necklace, then pretends she can't put it back. Jeremy slowly comes behind her and helps her put it back. The moment is quick but intense. Ellie is there the entire time listening to everything. Minutes later, Melissa comes to take Sophie for their plan. Ellie, realizing it's about Abigail, leaves telling them how messed up they are. Abigail is then alone in the theater waiting for Eric to rehearse. She decides to turn the spotlight and starts rehearsing without him. Melissa and Sophie looks at her and run away laughing. Eric didn't show up and stood her up, which was Melissa's plan. When she comes to the door, she realizes the door is locked. Meanwhile, it's raining outside and Jeremy is about to leave his class. He finds Abigail in the theater. Realizing it's raining outside, he offers her a ride. She accepts. They both get in his car. He puts his blazer around her to keep her warm. Jeremy tells her he will speak to Eric. It's not cool what he did. But Abigail adds that it wasn't just him, but also some other girls were laughing. Jeremy then tells her, screw them, he will do the scene with her instead of Eric. Abigail is so happy to hear that. She then asks him to stay in the car a little longer with him. He doesn't have a problem with that, and even suggests they turn on the radio. A romantic song is playing. Jeremy and Abigail slowly look at each other with such passion and desire. This feels like a dream, a fairy tale. They get close, and from now the movie is about to go to another direction. As the unthinkable is about to happen, mixing with the crazy jealousy of Melissa, the entire craziness will push both girls to their limits. Don't miss part 2, attached here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out other movie summaries we have on our channel.